Hello, Norman. This is Russell Clay here for another Dynasty roster review. Today we're going to be looking at Norman Sowatzke. Hopefully I pronounced that right. We're going to be looking at his Dynasty team. It's a 12-team, 24 roster spot, 10 starting spot Dynasty League. It's in really good shape, so I figure we will focus more on the strengths than the weaknesses, but we will obviously look at that as well. Before we do, though, if you're seeing this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're already over on Fantasy Guru, I do appreciate that. You did all the work already. But yeah, so let's fire away. If you like this content, good. I hope you do. So, this is our 9th Dynasty roster review of the offseason. We've had 9 volunteers so far, and we do have a few others. We got Ray next week, Wes Lawrence. After that, Jim Shea, Brendan Mand, Adam Bisson, Dallas Wagner, and Chase Nelson. So these guys are all going to get their rosters reviewed before the season begins, which is coming up here shortly. I might have to double up some weeks to get these done before the season starts. But hey, that's the life of a content creator. So, 12-team, 0.5 PPR, so pretty standard 1 QB. This is the starting settings. So we got 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, which is important, 1 tight end, 1 flex, and a kicker and defense. And I know most people are going to groan and say, kicker and defense, And you know what I say? While you're groaning, which is what most people are going to do in this league, there's points to be had. And kicker and defense, something most people don't put any effort into. They were pretty standard in 2008, 2009 to have a kicker and defense. And I found lots of points for not much because random guys were on the waiver wire or sort of just hanging out there because those positions weren't as efficient, and if you're getting 1 to 2 points at kicker and then at defense, those 4 points over 16, 17 weeks are going to add up. So if you are playing in a league with kicker and defense, this is a pre-roster review, then you got to take that serious. Like, complain about it all you want, which I do as well, blah, blah, blah. And then go do your damn research. Go check the kicker rankings. Go check, some stats on all this stuff. And check the defense for DFS. Who are the people on this week? Get those extra points. Grind it out and win your league because one team doesn't care about their defense and you do. So definitely grind that out. All right, we are going to start with quarterback here with the strengths. We're going to be looking at the strengths for Norman's roster here. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Trevor Lawrence. He's a 93 in the Dynasty ratings, a top 5 Dynasty quarterback for me, and I'm expecting a big jump from year 1. And there's countless videos and live streams and articles talking about Trevor Lawrence, so you don't need to hear all that. Just know I'm all in on Trevor Lawrence. So while he may be a year away from really providing QB1 fantasy upside, with this roster, especially a 1 quarterback, I'm not stressing the Deshaun Watson suspension, especially once Watson gets off of this. You have 2 cornerstone quarterbacks locked into your roster. Now, if you have not a lot of depth and you have a quarterback depth chart like this in a 1 quarterback league, you may be able to get away with trading a Watson or Lawrence, for a big haul, quote unquote, in 1 quarterback leagues. But, taking a look at this roster, if we can get another quarterback in here, which I wouldn't suggest more than 3. So I actually like Norman's build here. But if we can get another quarterback, another young guy in here, we may be able to trade Watson after the suspension is over, or maybe get rid of Winston here if things work out. Because realistically, if you have Lawrence and Watson, there's no need for a third quarterback with that build because you already have two guys with immense perceived value and potentially immense week-to-week value. So love this setup here. I think this was done very optimally. Watson, could miss most of this year, and we could get that middling quarterback finish here from this position. And again, this is one of the ways I like to look at my dynasty teams. How are the quarterbacks going to score compared to the other quarterbacks in the league? Lawrence and Winston combination with a decent start-sit rating, you could probably get into the 6th or 7th, maybe 8th out of 12 in this league, which, mid-tier scoring, I think that'll be fine. I do think Lawrence will at least be startable this year. So, love this setup. Love it more for Dynasty. Watson's going to go back up into the 90s once that suspension ends and he's back on the field to week, but it's really hard to keep him up in the top 5 to 7 when he's got all that offseason disastrous stuff looming. So, great setup here. Love it. Running back, this is also very, very beautiful to me. I love this setup. Again, every league we're not going to have enough assets to have 5 of the top 7 dynasty running backs. But what we have here is we have one stud, Najee Harris. We have one potential stud in Travis Etienne. And then we have another guy, A.J. Dillon, who's in one of the best offenses in the NFL. Third-year guy, showed a lot last year. I think he'll be a flex play regardless of Aaron Jones' health or injury. And that trio is just a gorgeous dynasty running back build. You got Dillon last year, much cheaper than he's going for now. He's seen a huge price increase. His ADP in best ball leagues is going up. People are starting to see, this is a league winner if Aaron Jones. This is a 20 touchdown potential guy if Aaron Jones goes down. So we have that. We have 2 sort of question marks as RB2s going into the year in Etienne and Dillon. But from a dynasty perspective, this is locked in. And when you start to look at next year, if, Aaron Jones is not quite the guy anymore, or, Dillon is sort of asserting himself by the end of this year, you're looking at a top 10 dynasty running back and, a potential league winner for 2022. So same thing for Etienne. I love both of these guys. I think this is a great setup behind Najee. And Tony Pollard. I'm more of a Zeke. I'm in on Zeke for this year. I love, the draft round he's going in for season-long leagues, but Pollard is electric. They're probably going to rotate him out into more wide receiver sets, more wide receiver routes, more opportunity for fantasy points there, and I do believe he can do that. I often reference those Memphis college teams that he was on with Antonio Gibson, Darrell Henderson, and Kenny Gainwell. Pollard, is a very versatile guy. He is a running back, but he has wide receiver skills, so I don't see him taking over for Elliott, but I could see another 1,000 yards from scrimmage year. And if anything does happen to Elliott, my Lord, is the upside high. So those top 4 is chef kiss. I love it. And the best part is that you can tell it was pretty organically built. These aren't guys that are like, all first round dynasty picks. Tony Pollard was going, much later last year, as was A.J. Dillon, and depending on when the startup was, who knows with Etienne. So love this setup. And then you have 2 really nice handcuffs here in Melvin Gordon and Michael Carter. If anything happens to Javonte, Melvin Gordon has shown he still has skills. Michael Carter, Breece Hall being there certainly hurts, but love the handcuff value here. I might actually move him up. 45 seems a little low for Michael Carter, especially after what he showed last year. Not going to be a featured guy, but deserves a little more cred than this. So I absolutely adore this setup here. So love it. All right. Wide receiver. So, Norman knows there's not a lot of depth here. However, we're talking about strengths right now. And as you can see, the top 3 wide receivers are 3 of my top 15 Dynasty wide receivers, including my wide receiver 3, which is a 96 overall in CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, one of the most prolific wide receiver prospects of the last decade. And he's proven to be good on the field as well through his first 2 years in Dallas. I think we're locking in a really, really high-end Dynasty wide receiver. He may not be Jamar Chase. He may not be Justin Jefferson. But he is going to be very, very good for a very long time, barring some unforeseen injury. So this guy has everything you look for. Again, he doesn't have the Jamar Chase unlimited upside, but with Dak Prescott in a great offense, Lamb does have like 1,400 receiving yard, 10 touchdown upside, which I think he could get to as soon as this year. That's why he's 23 years old and rated a 96, because he has immense perceived value and he has immense week-to-week value in your lineup. Love it. DK Metcalf was much higher this time last year in my Dynasty rankings, but because of losing Russell Wilson, we do have to ding him a little bit. Also, some weird off-season stuff going on with him, but still a fantastic Dynasty wide receiver and a guy that I am buying at this price. Could be a few rough years with Drew Lock, but ultimately I think Metcalf is a fantastic deep threat, so love him as a wide receiver 2 in Dynasty. Jerry Jeudy, again, another guy that, has gotten off to sort of a slow start to his career, but he gained Russell Wilson, so the loss in the Metcalf is the gain in Jeudy. Still very high on Jeudy and his prospect profile, so really love him as a wide receiver 3 in Dynasty. And that core, again, those are your starters. If we sustain an injury, we have Allen Robinson, who's a great veteran piece to add into this group. So having Robinson as sort of the season-long veteran guy, we don't need the perceived value from Robinson because we have 3 guys who are carrying the market value of this wide receiver depth chart. So we have Robinson as our win now guy. I love this setup. This is really nice. This is, again, the problem here, and we will get into that in a second, is the depth. Do like Jacoby Myers as sort of a slot guy. Half PPR makes him a little less valuable, but, and Terrace Marshall does have some upside. We'll get into, the rookie picks in a second, but I think we might be able to add a quality piece here to get that up to 5 quality wide receivers. All right, tight end, Kyle Pitts, done here. Check that mark. Albert O as the second guy. Don't need Rob. Wouldn't have needed him even if he was, playing this year. Kyle Pitts, 100 overall, 22 years old, had 1,000 receiving yards as a 21-year-old. You can debate whether he's a wide receiver or tight end. For our purposes, he's a tight end. Lock it in. Lock in that decade of fantasy goodness and lock in Kyle Pitts as an immense advantage over your competition. Alberto, I know the Greg Dulcich thing, but I like him as a depth piece. As a tight end 1 for your team, that'd be sketchy. But, Kyle Pitts, lock him in. Kicker and defense, Matt Prater, Rams, love this play. Because of the Rams' offense, they are going to have games where they don't necessarily score well, but overall, that is an explosive defense and will have high upside games. Ultimately, over a season, it'll be an advantage. Prater, like the play there. Again, you don't have to put immense effort into it, but take a look. And rookie picks, here you go, maybe a little Garrett Wilson. Added a little Garrett Wilson here, and I think we're looking at a nice Dynasty wide receiver depth chart. I would honestly think about going wide receiver. You'll definitely get a quality guy here, maybe a John Mechie or something like that. So this team's really solid, really young, and ready to compete now. Love the setup. Love it. Let's go, Norman. Let's go.